If you drop a 70-ton M1 Abrams tank alone into Wild Fox Ridge in the year 1001 Farchwer, facing 90,000 bloodthirsty Mongol cavalry under Genghis Khan, how long would this modern war machine survive? Most people's first reaction is that this would be an uncontested slaughter. But today we are going to completely shatter that illusion of overwhelming firepower. When a steel beast, cut off from modern supply lines, finds itself surrounded by 90,000 living bodies, it's no longer a god, it becomes prey, with clear physical limits, capable of being drained to death by mere mortals. The army led personally by Genghis Khan was no disorganized mob. They were the most terrifying conquerors on earth at that time. Worse, they had a primal instinct, an unerring sense that no living creature, its main cannon can penetrate nearly a meter of solid steel from 3 kilometers away, and its thermal imaging can see through darkness and smoke. To the 13th century Mongol warriors, this was a metal dragon crawling out of hell. If the treads halt, this 70-ton machine instantly becomes a death target for 90,000 enemies. Second, maintain distance. Never allow swarming riders to climb onto the hull like ants. Third, the most critical, conserve ammunition. The steel beast carries only 42 main cannon rounds and a limited number of coaxial machine gun bullets. Its strategy is simple. Unleash deafening firepower to induce extreme psychological fear, shattering the Mongols' command structure, making them believe they are facing an invincible god. The first cannon shot erupts, and hundreds of Mongol cavalrymen instantly turn to blood mist, their horses panicking in the fire's shockwave. Yet as the smoke clears, the modern soldiers inside the tank look through the periscope, and their blood runs cold. These 13th century warriors did not scatter. Instead, they silently form strange arc-shaped formations like a swarm of blood-scented ants creeping toward the tank's tread blind spots. The flame-spewing machine appears invincible, yet its fatal weaknesses are its pathetic 42 rounds of main cannon ammo and its finite fuel. But before that, it delivers a level of slaughter the 13th century human brain could scarcely comprehend. At dawn in Wild Fox Ridge, thick fog still lingers. The Abrams thermal imaging shows the Mongol warriors and horses' body heat, each like a torch in the night. A single 120mm smoothbore round tears through the air at supersonic speed. A few Mongol commanders outside the central command tent are vaporized into a cloud of blood before even hearing the gunfire. Horses throw their riders to the ground. Elite heavy cavalry collapse in an unseen massacre. Fear spreads like a plague through 90,000 men. Any medieval commander would instinctively kneel or flee, but Genghis Khan does not. His gray eyes hold no fear, only cold calculation. He sends the lowest-ranking troops, slaves and light cavalry like bales of hay, hundreds in a row, relentlessly toward the 70-ton steel dragon. Khan is using hundreds and thousands of lives to measure this machine's physical rules. How many seconds between main cannon shots? What areas can the top-mounted machine gun not reach? How long to rotate the massive steel barrel? How deeply do the treads sink into the mud? The Mongol scouts, like bloodthirsty insects, swarm around the tank, testing its limits with their bodies. When thousands of corpses finally pave a path to the tank's blind spots, the elite soldiers rush forward to disassemble it, only to encounter a hair-raising, hopeless trap. Even if the machine does not move, the sharpest 13th century armor piercing blades cannot scratch its outer paint. The hundreds of dismembered bodies are not meaningless sacrifices, they are live mapping for the steel beast. Each vaporized human and crushed horse conveys a fatal message. The tanks roar. As the battlefield's stench overtakes the initial panic, a cruel calculus begins. This 70-ton killing machine carries a deadly countdown, 42 rounds. Once removed from supply lines, even a masterpiece of modern warfare is a moving, steel island. Crew members realize that their fire control system and depleted uranium armor are being drained by primitive attrition. 42 rounds, even if each kills 100 men, only eliminates 4,200. In front of 90,000 Mongols, this is a negligible fraction. The Mongols display the terrifying discipline of cold weapon warfare. The elite heavy cavalry is pulled back. Thousands of slaves, conscripts, and foot soldiers are sent forward as fodder, like rising tides across the plain. Meanwhile, light cavalry spreads to the extreme range 2 miles out, like patient prairie wolves, constraining the tank's mobility. The tank cannot stop. A minute of idle treads invites hundreds of thousands of flaming arrows, lassoed ropes, and pots of incendiary oil to rain down on its optics and engine. To survive, the beast must roar across the plain at 45 miles per hour, just as Kublai Khan intends, forcing it to waste precious fuel on endless back-and-forth runs. The cabin heats up, fuel dwindles, the commander hesitates to fire the main gun. The treads crush layer upon layer of corpses. Bones snap and entrails burst with whir. A sickening crunch audible through the armor. Yet through thermal imaging they see something chilling. The Mongols are not charging. They are piling corpses and debris into massive crescent-shaped walls, jamming the treads with viscous flesh and bone. With its ranged firepower exhausted, the 70-ton machine finally succumbs to sheer physical laws and the mud of the blood-soaked battlefield. Human ingenuity, discipline, and the raw brutality of the Mongol army have neutralized 7 centuries of technological advantage. The battlefield is silent, the sandstorm swirls, and Genghis Khan's banner rises over the steel corpse. Thousands of elite riders remain on the plain, leaving no intact corpse. All have been charred or crushed. The Khan wins, using the rawest of resources, human lives, to drain every last drop of fuel and ammunition from this modern war machine. The tank now sits buried in a wall of bodies and debris, immobilized. This is the grim reality behind the fantasy. A modern tank can slaughter thousands, but in the eyes of an absolute commander, if your kill rate cannot keep pace with the enemy's attrition, you are doomed. Across 7 centuries of technological gap, no weapon can escape the cold calculus of human survival and relentless discipline. From cavalry wielding curved swords to infantry behind screens today, the rule is unchanged. Lives are expendable, machines are tested, and survival is never guaranteed.